What's up, all my devil dogs? It's strength.corp.general Sean Notley. Another Sunday Q&A. I'm gonna try and answer all the rest of the questions from the Facebook page, and so that way next week we can get to some new questions. I'm gonna make them short, I'm gonna make them concise, and we're gonna get this done. Okay? So let's start with question number one. Question number one comes from Mr. Peter Cena. And his question is why his pulling strength increases while his pushing strength doesn't, but he's still seeing muscle gains in both. Very simple answer. Your back's a lot bigger muscle and can handle a lot more load than your chest is. Your chest is usually the primary mover in your pushing movements. Your back's usually the primary mover in your pulling movements. Your back's a bigger muscle. It's going to be able to handle more loads. That's why you're going to see strength increases a little bit quicker in that area as opposed to your pushing. But it will all catch up and even out over time, so don't worry about it too much. Thanks for your question, Mr. Cena. Next question comes from Miss Kathy Coleman Bastion. And her question is that she's been out of the gym for over a year due to sciatica. She's all better and ready to get back in shape, but her doctor suggested no walking trails, but using the elliptical. And what other suggestions do I have? Now, for those of you who don't know what sciatica is, basically it's the sciatic nerve, which is like in your lower back. A lot of times, like, it can be impinged, and that can cause you to feel like numbness down like either one of your legs, and it can be very painful. So what I would say is, your doctor's right. Start back off slow. The elliptical is great because it doesn't put a lot of tension on your body. It's very low impact. Even a treadmill, something like that. But eventually you want to start working your way back up. Start with lighter weights. Don't do too much stuff stabilized, like a lot of standing stuff or anything like that, because that could put pressure on your lower back. You want to do a lot of seated stuff. Use machines. Gradually get back into it. Don't just hop back into it. Especially when it comes to working legs, I would say try to, use more machines to start off, like not necessarily going right back to squatting with a barbell if you were doing something like that before, because you want to make sure that you really take care of that back, so that you don't have that issue in the future. But eventually you can move back into it and progress slowly. All right, so take it slow, take it easy, and don't go too quickly, but eventually try and build back up to where you were before and beyond, because it's all about progress. All right, so thank you, Kathy, for your question. Next question comes from Mr. Dylan Trinidad, and he wants to know what my favorite grip for lat pull downs and why, because he's just curious. Now, my favorite grip for the lat pull down is actually the neutral grip. I love neutral grip pull downs as opposed to over or underhand, just because I feel like it's supposedly the best of both worlds. Scientifically speaking, it's supposed to be like the most optimal grip for like lat development. Because sometimes overhand, I'm getting a lot more upper back than I want. Sometimes underhand, I feel it a lot more in my biceps, and it's supposed to really isolate the lats a little better. But when I go neutral grip, I really don't feel it much in my biceps, but I feel it all in my lats, man. Upper back, mid back, a little lower lat. So it's awesome, man. I love the neutral grip, and that's my favorite grip. I guess he happened to care a little bit about that. So, hey, that's my favorite grip, man. The next question comes from Mr. Emilio Robles? I don't know. I have no idea how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry, Emilio. And his question is, when training hypertrophy-based workouts, is it beneficial to throw in some powerlifting-based sets, 2 to 5 or 1 rep max, in order to confuse your muscles and add more weight to the bar over time? Two answers to this question. Yes, it is beneficial to throw in some heavy sets, because you don't want to just be doing lightweight all the time. I like to throw in, especially if I'm cutting, because it really helps you maintain that strength over the course of your cut or your diet. Putting in like 1, even sometimes 2 if it's early in your diet, 2 power sets to really just focus on moving a lot of weight. That's really good. And what it's gonna do is, especially if you're, say, in a calorie surplus and you're trying to gain weight, you're trying to build muscle, what that's gonna do is make your lighter weights feel lighter. So let's say you load the bench and 225 is your, you can rep that out 10 times. Now, if you slap on 275, you might only get it 5 times. But if you do that first and then you go to your 225, your 225 is gonna feel a lot lighter. There's a name for that. I can't really think of it right now, but that really, really helps. I'm not a big fan of 1 rep maxes. I feel like unless you're like a power lifter or you're gonna compete, 1 rep maxes I mean, they're cool every now and then just to monitor your strength and see where you're at, but to actually perform them is kind of dangerous because, especially if you don't have a spotter, a lot can go wrong, as I'm sure you can, probably guess. So I'm not a big fan of 1 rep maxes, but if you are gonna do one, be safe, have a spotter. Don't do it on your own, and don't do it very frequently. Maybe once every few months or so, but I wouldn't do it like every couple of weeks. That can be very, very dangerous. You're putting yourself in a susceptible position for injury, okay? So hope that answers your question, man. Next question is Mr. Rhino Christopher OS. I guess that's not your real name, but whatever. Thanks for your question anyway. He wants to know how much cardio I do during the week and what type of cardio. I usually do mostly steady state cardio, but I'm actually going to start implementing some high intensity interval training. I've never really been a fan of it, but I've never really given it a long enough try to see how it would affect my body. Most of the time, because it's anaerobic and I'm going to get the same stimulation as I would from, say, working out, like lifting weights. Those are both anaerobic movements. They both use carbohydrates and are glycogen depleting. So I was never really a fan. So I might do it once or twice a week maybe. But most of the time I do steady state cardio on like the treadmill or the bike or the Stairmaster. Those are like my 3 favorites. And how much cardio do I do? That just depends on what my diet is. Usually when I start off, I'm doing like 3 days a week, 300. Right now, I'm actually doing like 250 after every workout, except legs. How I approach my cardio is I try and hit a certain amount over the course of the week. So I'll say I want to hit 1,000 calories of cardio this week. So if I'm working out, say 5 days, I want to do cardio, then I'll just divide it into 5 days. That's 200 calories for 5 days. Or if I'm doing 1,200 and I'm going 6 days, that's 200 for 6 days. So it just depends. Or I might say one day, whatever, I'm feeling it, I'll just knock out 400. Now I only got 600 left for the rest of the week. And I can knock that out whenever I feel like it. So sometimes it just depends on what time I have left, but that's typically how I approach my cardio, man. All right, next question comes from Abraham Lopez. I'm not even gonna pronounce your last name, I'm sorry. I'm gonna butcher it. Jargui? I don't know. Anyway, his question is, what type of workout do you do when your gym is closed? Just some cardio, or is there something else? Well, for one, I go to a gym that doesn't close. We only close twice a year, which is Thanksgiving and Christmas, and most likely, I'm gonna make that a rest day anyway. But let's just say I went to a gym and it closed for whatever reason. What would I do at home? I actually have some home workout videos on my channel, but as y'all know, a lot of my videos got erased. I'm gonna try and bring some of those back and redo some of those, but I'll do like little home workouts or whatever. Or if my gym is closed for that one day, then what I'll typically do is, if it's just gonna be closed for that day, I'll just make that day my rest day. I made it in my rest day. I might go out and do something a little active, maybe play basketball or something just to be active, but I'll make it a rest day, and then whatever day was supposed to be my rest day, I'll work out on that day. Just adjust your plan a little bit. It's not a big deal. So that's what I would do. My homeboy Jay Jones, man. Question, I sent you a workout. When are you gonna do it? That's a very good question, man. Well, I'm trying to get my knee back right. I just started doing legs again this week. On machines and stuff like that, which is why I'm hopping back on my diet this week for those of y'all who care about that. But resend me the workout, man, and I'll try and do it, because I know my friend Jay is in the military, man, so I have a lot of respect for him. Y'all know my channel's called Strength Core because I really have respect for the men and women who put their lives on the line for our country, and I really appreciate that, man. And I have a special place for the Marine Corps, just because, man, I have a lot of friends who are in the Marine Corps. I have family who's in the Marine Corps, and I just really respect it. Hence the name Strength Core. All right, I might do a video on the origins of that sometime in the future, but right now I just want to say I respect everybody. So Jay, send me that workout again, my man, and I'll go ahead and do that for you, man, because I appreciate when people send me workouts to do, because it's cool to get somebody else's view on how to work out. Last question comes from Jeff DeRose. He had a question in the other video, but this one goes, how to tell the difference between pain from a good contraction and pain from like an injury, like from poor form. Mostly on his shoulders, but I'll apply it to the rest of the body, and this is the last question. So pretty much how you can tell the difference between pain like from just working out hard and pain from, let's say, you pinch something. That pain is going to be very sharp. If you hurt something, it's going to be a sharp pain. If it's just pain from like lactic acid, it's gonna burn. So like, you know, let's say you're doing a whole lot of biceps, you know, your biceps start burning, they get really tired. That, if you get that feeling in your chest or in your shoulders and your back, that's from, you know, just the lactic acid buildup from doing a lot of reps, you know. But if you start feeling a sharp pain, like, you know, I don't know if you've ever sprained an ankle or jammed a finger, it's a very sharp pain. If you start feeling stuff like that where it's very sharp, then that's when you want to taper back, fix your form up, make sure you're warmed up, okay, and don't further continue because you don't want to risk injury, because then you're going to be out of commission for a while. So sharp pain, no bueno. Burning pain, hey man, that's just part of the game. All right, hey, that rhymed a little bit. I might have to drop an album on y'all soon. Anyways, y'all, thanks for tuning in to another Sunday Q&A. I appreciate all the questions. It really helps everybody to get ready to, you know, go out there and educate themselves and learn something new that they can apply this week in the gym. So I'm gonna keep this series going on. I'm gonna answer all the rest of the questions from YouTube for next week. And I got plenty of good videos coming for y'all this week that I'm gonna record today. All right, so be on the lookout for those. I appreciate all the support. And I'm out of here, y'all. I'm about to head to Denny's and get me some breakfast. Don't forget the orders. Subscribe and share. Like and comment. So next time on Devil Dogs, dismissed.
Triple beam dreams and drug schemes of mad cream could be a sad scene when you go to that extreme. Triple beam dreams and drug schemes of mad cream could be a sad scene when you go to that extreme.